I just realized the coolest thing on earth. I got some mail from the appraisal district, of course, and it looks like this. So here's what it says. This is a notice of homestead eligibility right here. And as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I get a lot of mail like this because I represent a lot of people, of course. And then I got to thinking, you know what? I think I helped write the law that got this notice triggered. It's just been a long time, and I don't recall ever getting one of these in the mail before. So I thought, you know what? I got to check this out. And sure enough, here it is. If I just blow this sucker up, let's see if I can do it. Let me read to you what this says. So I'm going to put Control F. Hold on. Control F. Notice. There you go. Okay. Here's where it is right here. It says, I'm just going to read. Here's the actual law. It says, notice a residence homestead exemption from ad valorem taxation is not currently being allowed on the property listed below. However, our records show that this property may qualify for a residence homestead exemption, which will reduce your taxes. Check that out. It's the exact words on the bill or on the notice. It is the craziest thing ever. And here's the thing. Here's what I did. I said, it has to be in huge font. I said, everybody gets this mail and just throws it in the trash. What we got to do is we got to make it as big as possible. And there it is in red letters. Let me show you one more thing, because this is just the craziest thing. Filed by Matt Krause. It was HB 1333. And let's see. I actually went and testified on this. Let me see. This is the craziest thing. Here it is. HB 1333 testifying. Right here. Little old going up to the and then, anyway, I know it's just for my own entertainment, but look at me. There it is. This is the craziest thing ever. I just had to show this because, like, when do you get the right bill? All right, so here's the most important thing. If you get one of these in the mail, don't ignore it. It means that you could have a homestead exemption that you qualify for, but it's not on your property. And up until this law got passed, all of the appraisal districts would just cancel your exemptions for any number of reasons. They might send you a notice or might not, whatever. Like, they're supposed to send you a notice, but if you have a typo in your mailing address, it's not getting to you. And so they would cancel them, no problem. But it really drove me nuts because they would go out of their way to cancel them, but they would never let you know when you qualified for one. And so I went to State Representative Matt Krause and I said, hey, man, this is really screwed up. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Let's write a bill. And I thought, there's no way at the time, I didn't know who Mr. Krause was. And I thought, there's no way he's going to work with me to write a bill. And sure enough, like 6 months later, he's like, talk to this staff person, tell them what should be in the bill. And here it is. And then he proofread it or whatever and said, let's go file the sucker. So here's the thing that most people won't know. The exact language is on the bill that I just read, but he doesn't get credit for this because he had to figure out how to get the thing passed. And the only way to get it passed was for him to basically shut down the bill that we had written. And he got another legislator to adopt it and add it as an amendment on this big property tax relief bill. It was the only way to get anything passed at the time. Along with this was the provision that required, or it created a way for people that are going to help property owners in all these different counties to get on a special list at the appraisal district so homeowners could find free help in every county. And so it's the coolest daggum thing ever. There's probably, I don't know, thousands of homeowners getting a notice like this across the state. And here's the funny thing. We're not going to ask too many questions about this because this is the first time I recall seeing this and reading the language and thinking, that looks really familiar. I don't know if I've received one of these before. We wrote the bill in like 2019 and got it passed then. So I don't know. Let's not ask too many questions. It's painful to think about, but we've got a good chief appraiser now who's doing the right thing and sending out these notices. And it's just more evidence that things are on track, not only here in Tarrant County, but on the state level. And so now you get notified if you might be missing an exemption. Now, I'll say this. We did our own research before I got this in the mail. We're doing our own research on our own clients. I identified about 2,000 people that I thought might deserve to have a homestead exemption. We asked the appraisal district for their list, and it wasn't quite that many. I have to assume that they know more about their own records than I know. All I'm doing is getting public data and just doing the best I can to analyze this stuff and then let people know. But these are the kind of things that happen behind the scenes that I don't talk about. And, we're just like hard at work doing what we got to do. In fact, my assistant's daughter was up here in the office opening hundreds of pieces of mail just to make sure there wasn't like something weird that they slipped in there. But because you get all the mail, you gotta figure out how to go through it. Anyway, if you get one of these in the mail, don't ignore it. Try to get your homestead exemption filed by the end of the month if you can. There's a couple other little tidbits I'll go ahead and tell you about. I think later on I'll probably do another video about this because it's a big deal. Most people's taxes are due at the end of this month. If you want to break your taxes up into quarterly payments, then you can. If you have a mortgage with an escrow account, you don't need to do that. But get your taxes paid by the end of this month. This is a lot, but if you're paying by mail, you have to get it in the mail before January 31st. Like, let's say January 25th or so, because the post office is date stamping mail different than they used to. In the past, you could put it in the mail on January 31st. It would get date stamped on January 31st, and that's not the case anymore. So if you put it in the mail on January 31st, it might get date stamped on like February 2nd or something like that because the post office changed their process. So there are reasons that will benefit you to get your homestead exemption on file before January 31st. One of those is because when you file, if you realize that it's missing on your account, then you can file and have it applied retroactively. And I'll tell you, if you want some help on how to fill out the form or you have questions, you can go to chandlercrouch.com/homestead. And I've got a tutorial there. Everything's free. It's just the information to teach us like what's going on with this stuff. Anyway, I just got excited. I was reading the mail and I thought I'm going to go live. I got to give Representative Krause, who's now our Tarrant County Commissioner, I got to give him credit because he's not going to get credit from anybody but me. But there are thousands of homeowners out there saving like millions of dollars because this bill was written. And it was done in a way that was selfless just to help homeowners. And so he deserves all the credit in the world for getting that sucker passed and for just allowing a guy like me to just help him out with a bill. It's just the coolest thing ever. It's like, I didn't realize how cool it was at the time. Now, in hindsight, especially getting something like this in the mail, realizing how many people are probably getting the same thing when in the past, they wouldn't have received any kind of notice and would just be paying their taxes and overpaying by a lot. Let me give you a hint real quick on what can cause your homestead exemption to get canceled, because right now there are people that we're calling about 150 people a day out of my office, letting them know that we've sent them an email. They may qualify. We're calling them just to make extra sure that they're getting the message. And a lot of these people are telling us, I've already filed for the homestead exemption recently or whatever, maybe within the past 6 months. And if we're letting you know that it's missing, you should probably still go check your records. Okay. Because there could be a problem in your paperwork or something that caused your homestead exemption to not go through. If it's anybody that is a client of mine, I got your back. I'm looking out for you. We're searching the records ourselves and we're reaching out. And that's the reason why I'm telling you, listen to us if you get that phone call. Okay. Or if you get the email. So if you didn't get the phone call or the email, then the way that the records are set up shows that you either have a homestead exemption that is in place and it should be in place, or it's missing and we don't think that you would qualify because it's not in place. All right. Rebecca, largely what we're looking at is, does your property address match your mailing address? That's the number one indicator. if the appraisal district sends you mail and it returns to the appraisal district as undeliverable, then they can just cancel your homestead exemption. That happens a lot. If there's anything that changes your deed, like if you refinance, then if the deed is changed in any way, then that could cause your homestead exemptions to fall off. Also, if you have like divorce, marriage, or if you put your house into a trust, and I'm just trying to think of any of the things that could cause your deed to change at all, you better double check your exemptions. Okay, here's one final thing. Gosh, I kind of saved this stuff up. Should probably go live a little bit more often, but whatever. If you go to the appraisal district website, it's not reliable right now. It's not going to be reliable for like at least a month. As a matter of fact, let's just pull the sucker up and I'll show you why. It's a good thing, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But here's what's going on. The appraisal district website, if you go to this little thing right here, this little banner across the top, it's telling you that beginning January 10th, let me increase the size here. So beginning January 10th, basically there's a data freeze. There you go. Data update freeze. So whatever was in place on January 10th is going to appear the same for like until, well, they're going to have the data until March 3rd. Okay. So that's a good long stretch. If you have filed your homestead exemption and you file it after the 10th, you're not going to see it come online until after the 3rd because they're transitioning to the new website, which is a good thing, but it's just part of the necessary process that they've got to do. They're trying to get ready for the protest season that's going to happen it's going to start in like mid-April, late April is when they're going to send out notices. Okay. So be on the lookout there. Something you're not going to hear in most places is if you need to check on your exemptions, you can send them an email straight to the exemptions department. And I went for a couple of years before I found this email address, but it's exempt@tad.org, exempt@tad.org. You can send them an email, give them your property address and say, hey, gosh, dog. Okay. Send them an email and say, hey, is there what exemptions are on my property? Or I think I intend to have a homestead exemption. I just want to verify it's there. They're probably going to get mad at me for sharing that email address, but oh well. That's the only option we have to check those things. Okay, I'm going to check some questions here, and then I'm going to log off because I will just talk and talk. I just got excited, guys. This notice came in the mail, and it's like, how cool. I hope that I could get a relationship with a legislator like that sometime in the future. And I am tempted to give you my 2 cents on which politicians I support and which ones I don't and why and all of that stuff. But I will name names like O'Hare, Elisa Simmons, Mazzani, Krause, and all of these guys. But I feel like that's going to head down a road that could be something that I don't want. I'll just tell you this. I'm in the business of helping people, not playing politics. But I also believe, so here I go. I can't help myself. But if a politician does something to help me help people, it's wrong if I don't give them credit. And all of those politicians I just named have done great things to help me help people. And some of them have done things that absolutely drive me up the wall. And I've been at like a crossroads figuring out, how do I navigate this? Because I feel like it's kind of crappy if I don't give them credit. But then when I go off endorsing people, then what does that say? Does it say that I endorse all the decisions they've made? Absolutely not. So I'm thinking about how to navigate that. I think I've got a pretty clear idea. If you want me to sound off on that more, I will. But let me just zip my trap before I say something that's going to get me in hot water here. And let's see here. That is, what's up, Chris? How you doing? Thank you. She is awesome, by the way. Trevor, always trying to get a little shout out anytime anything's going on online, running for county judge. I've met him. It seems like a nice guy. And you know, I wish any politician best of luck. It is I try, is even when I absolutely hate what a politician stands for, I try to give them credit for being willing to serve, because it is it's rough. It's rough, especially when you don't get a paycheck, or it's not a big paycheck. Any House representative that is serving on the state level, that job, I'm just going to tell you, this is not what you want me to hear. That job sucks. It is horrible. Okay. And anybody that's serving, I'm like, I just want to say thank you. So I'll say thank you to Alan Blaylock right now. He's on his way down there to serve. And so I've got a good relationship with him, and he will take some of these things locally that have gone to the surface, and he will be a fighter there. All right, Ryan Corley, if you need a good realtor, there's a good one for you. He's on our team. He's freaking awesome. Gustavo, what's up, man? He's great too. Misty, let's see, what did he say? I didn't even read it. That's amazing. This is the first year. So here's the thing. It's the first year I've gotten the notice. I think that the notices should have been going out over the past 5 years or so, but it's the first time I've received the notice. So I'm wanting to say it's because we have a good chief appraiser that's on top of things, and we're switching over to a new computer system. The software that we've had in Tarrant County was absolutely horrible, and it caused most of the problems that have plagued our county. That and bad leadership have been the core of it. Now that we've got good leadership installed there, and we're getting new software, I think that's the reason why we're seeing these kind of things. So yeah, it's the first time I saw it. Got really excited. There's Misty. What's up, Misty? Bill, you got it, man. Veronica, thank you you got it. Happy to do it, Veronica. It's exciting. What's up, Bonnie Cochran from GP representing? It's my hometown. All right, Joshua Phillips, you got it. All right, what do we have here? Zip it on politics. Coming from you. Hey, look, I don't mind. I'm happy to stay out of it. But it's like I do things that are political, because it's a necessary avenue if you want permanent change. And so I want to work with all politicians. I don't care about a lot of other stuff. I'm in it to help people. I have very strong opinions about all sorts of things, as you can imagine. We all do. I cannot tell you how many times I have written a Facebook post ready to hit send, and I just let it sit there, and I'm like, let's just backspace that sucker. It's not going to change anything. Just backspace. And later on, I'm like, that was the right decision. Oftentimes, I don't know, when I'm using any kind of wisdom before I have a hot take on political stuff, I usually ask somebody else, hey, what do you think about this? The answer is always no. All right. But let's see here. What does he say? All right. When they say that you have to renew or reapply for your homestead every 5 years, when does that 5 years start? For example, we bought our home July 2021, filed the homestead exemption beginning of 2022, haven't received a notice, but trying to be prepared. You know what, Dirk? You are ahead of the game here, man. I'm going to take your comment off because it's crowding the screen. But this is something that was a big, big issue that is no longer an issue at all. You don't have to worry about it, okay? So on one hand, I'm saying if you're getting a phone call from me, if you're getting an email from me, or if you're getting a notice from the appraisal district, do not ignore it, and you must reapply. In the beginning, they were dividing the county into sectors and making each sector, the entire sector, reapply for their exemptions, because they were trying to comply with a new law. That was a big nightmare. And so our appraisal district figured out how they could prevent from bothering homeowners to reapply when it was unnecessary. When they didn't have any indication that there was a problem, they said, look, they, I guess, got the attorneys together and figured out that they could just ask people to reapply whenever it was clear that they had an exemption incorrectly applied to their account. And so now you're only bothered and only asked to reapply if there's a problem, and if that they'll cancel your exemption if they think that you shouldn't have it. And we, as much as I hate that, like, I'd rather them just keep the exemptions on, like, who cares? But what happens is, if they grant an exemption to somebody and somebody's saving a bunch of money on property taxes, but it's incorrectly applied, then what that means is me and you and everybody else have to pick up the slack, and we end up paying a little bit more because that person is getting away with something. And so it's good for them to audit their records. We need the records to be accurate. That's the whole thing. Okay. So once every 5 years, they do an audit on a certain sector of the population. Now, I wouldn't doubt it if Tarrant County probably audits all of them every year, because Tarrant County actually is one of the leaders in property tax stuff. Partly because we have so many people watching and holding them accountable. They have to be better because we're not sleeping on the job here. We got you guys, they're all riled up, and we don't give them an inch. So anyway, so you don't have to worry about it, Dirk. Just long story short, you're good, man, but you're on top of it. You're paying attention. So way to go. All right. Do we have any other yes coming from me? Like she has a lot of she's not shy. She's not shy. All right. Thanks for the update. You got it. All right, guys. Well, I am super excited. Again, the tax law that I helped write just triggered this notice. It's a good notice. It's saving people a ton of money. And so giving credit to the man that helped make that possible was State Rep Matt Krause. And how do I check if mine is current? Andrea, if you're not getting anything in the mail or email or what, if you're one of my clients, then we're emailing and calling. If you are just own a property anywhere, you should be getting one of these in the mail. I wouldn't sweat it too much. If you're in Tarrant County, the only way to check right now is to email exempt at tad.org. I'll show you really, really quick just what to do. Hold on here. Let me just show you. If you go to tad.org and you search for, let's see here, you scroll down here and just put your address in. You got to put your address, not this one. And then you click the account that belongs to your house, and then you scroll all the way to the bottom. Then you'll see if you have an exemption on the property right here. This one has a homestead exemption. All I did was scroll to the bottom of the screen, and that's how you check. If you have an over 65 exemption, let me show you the secret. Nobody else is going to tell you this, but here's how you check to see. You scroll up from that a little bit, and there's this link that takes you to the tax assessor's office, and you click that. You got to go through their CAPTCHA stuff, and then right here you can go to the e-statement, and if you click that, then right up top you will see a code. Right here is the code where all the exemptions are listed. And let's see here. I'm going to zoom in. So this one says HS001. That means that this property has a homestead exemption. That's the code for that. There are other codes for other exemptions. So for an over 65 exemption, it's like OV00 something or other, 3-6. It's going to OV003 or 6. There are multiple homestead exemptions that are out there that the one that would be applied, the over 65 exemption that would be applied to everybody's account that has it is the one for the school. That's mandatory by the state. And so OV0065, I think is what that one is. So anyway, that's where you're going to see it listed. In fact, it just occurred to me that even if the appraisal district's records, I don't know, appraisal district records are going to be screwed up until they finish their conversion. And so I think if you really don't send them an email unless you're really truly concerned. But if you are concerned, by all means, send them an email, exempt@tad.org, because until March 3rd, their records are not being updated online. So anyway, hope that helps a little bit. Let's see. We keep having questions, which is awesome. Keeps me on track, keeps me from saying something stupid. I'll just answer your questions. These are helpful. All right. So we need to reapply for this year, 2026. If you're not getting, no. If you're not getting any mail, you're good. You're good. If only if you're getting mail, if they're sending you stuff saying, hey, we think there's a problem, then respond to that, obviously. But if you're not getting any indication that there is a problem, then you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So I hope I didn't say that unclear, because that would be tragic if I said something that all of a sudden made tons of people go out there and reapply. But no, the whole thing is they're keeping the records tidy and nifty. If you don't have one, they're letting you know. And of course, they've never had a problem canceling them if they think that you shouldn't have one. So you don't have to worry about that one. All right, y'all. If there's no more questions, I'm not seeing them. That is it. I appreciate you. Look, I am absolutely living a dream come true to be able to do this kind of stuff. I think that a life lived with purpose is where it's at. And of course, I make I don't hide my faith at all. It's a huge thing in my life. And it's like, if we're not serving a purpose, what are we doing here? I just had a guy, I didn't know him, but a ton of people in my high school did know him, a guy in Grand Prairie. His name is Josh Hendricks. And he just passed away. And I can just see people absolutely shattered that he has passed away. And he was a friend to so many people. And it's just like, if you can serve a purpose while you're here, making a difference here and now, the people you're around, especially if it's for something that you believe in that's as important as a deity, as a God. Oh my gosh. What better purpose is that than you get to help, you get to play a role on that level to glorify God in what you're doing every day. And I believe this does. I believe that it's something that if you're helping people and doing the right thing, then it's a good thing. And so I'm living a dream come true, and I have you to thank for that. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all the support, and hope you have a great weekend. Let's do this. There's more to come, right? All right. Hold on. I got another question. Sorry. That was a great little conclusion, I thought. But no, here we go. If you handled our protest in the past, will you handle it again this year, or do we need to reapply? You're good. No need to reapply. We will send everybody a notice it's going to be like April 20th or sometime mid to late April. Okay. We'll send you an email to just we want everybody to come back and reconfirm, give you an opportunity to submit evidence or whatever the case is. But you don't have to worry about it. We got you. You will be getting an email from us around that time. And we're doing our very best right now to just clean up records and make sure we're sending emails, periodically testing them to make sure that our email list is good. So when the time comes, we make sure everybody that needs to get an email gets one. And then if it bounces, then we call you. Okay. All right. Yeah. Appreciate you. Thank you. Jesus Christ is King. Yeah. All right. Let's do it, guys. Have a great weekend. Over now. Bye.